hear the bad note. D minor, G, C, A minor, D, to the G, end of the C. Now we're going to play the note. So we go to the C. So what I did is I targeted that C note right there as my starting and finishing point, right? And then I established a 4-note box, so I can go two ways here, right? So I got C, D, right? C note, 5th fret, 3rd string, because it's the key of C, right? So we go 2 up is a D. There's your C. Right? Now we can go to like an F, G. Put it together. Right? Now we can go just higher up in the string set. So we'll go high, now low. Our box. Now don't be confused by this part. That would be a box too, but we're crossing the border. We're going from the bronze to the silver strings. And you know what happens? Because of the way the guitar is tuned, we got to move a fret up, okay? So instead of having a natural all the way down, hear that? Didn't sound right. Sounds right, okay? So when we start on C, which is right here, because it's the key of C, we can go this way, which is C, D, G, A, I'm sorry, D, F, G, C, G, that was the open D, G, C, D, F, G, or we can go C, D, G, G, A, C, D, G, A, C, D. So we have options depending on what we're listening to, and that's why we got to bring our ears into the equation. So our ears kind of tell us which way we should go by root of the, right? That's part of your guitar foundation. That's why I always say, right? That's why I always say, Jeff, this is, Jeff, I know you're being sarcastic right now. I know it, because this is probably prime time for you, right? Sorry, buddy. All right, so again, very simple chord progression in the key of C. So all that means is we could take any C on our fretboard, right? Those that have been following me know this. I'm not going to go on to this too much. I just wanted to start out here, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things that we can keep in mind that we really should learn, open guitar players, if we want to play little licks, riffs, and little scales around our open chords. But let's finish this thought first, right? This is the simplest way to approach any type of soloing. When you're not trying to play to the record, when you just want to be musical and you just want to make good music, right? Okay, so again, key of C. I'm going to take this C note right here. We all know it. It's part of our C chord, right? Here we go. There's my 4-note box, right? Remember. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, a 4-note box, check out the videos on my channel, Fretboard Theory, okay? And I think there is actually those that are titled Creating Our 4-Note Box. So we're gonna start our root, right? C, key of C, C note. And we're gonna play our 4-note box. So that'd be C, 2 frets up D, beneath is F as always, and up G. So let's play just those 4 notes. Right? 4 notes. Now we can go down here to this C, play those 4 notes. Now we can go to this C right here. Play those, and this one right here. Right? So, Mr. Prime Channel. Well, thank you, sir. You don't sound familiar, so you've either been a long time, you've been a long time follower maybe, or you just stumbled upon me today, Mr. Prime Channel. But either way, welcome. Dermot, a big storm in Ireland. Sorry to hear that, buddy. We've had our share this year, believe me. All right, so that's the basic concept that I preach regularly. And I can't say it enough because I know when I was a beginner or getting to that phase where, I had been playing a little, I was pretty good with my chords. As soon as we started talking notes and scales and solos and leads, my brain just went mush, okay? And I found out that over time, I didn't quite understand, because I did exactly what you're doing. I went to all the channels, got books, I watched DVDs, waiting for someone to just dumb it down enough to make me understand, and it never happened. But I realized, I didn't understand it the 10th, 11th, and 16th time that it was explained to me, because I didn't understand notes and scales and chords and how they're made and all that, right? Okay, hi Justin. But the 142nd time that someone showed me this and told me, ding, the light bulb went off. So I know that sometimes for us of the first year player, first 2 years player, still in chords in the open position, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still do it after many, many years. There's something in our brain that says it's stopping us from crossing the forbidden line, the world of notes and scales. It wants to keep us chord players. And it's so hard. It's like you're standing around the pool and you're dipping your toe in and you want to dive in so bad, but you will drown, okay? And that's what I was like for years. I wanted to play solos. I wanted to play licks. I understood what I had to do. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't take a step. This is the easiest first step. Key of C, no matter what the chords are. Key of C, right? C note. Right? That's it. Now, that brings me to how can we prepare ourselves to do, right? Okay, so the first thing is we are open guitar players. That means we play all chords, G, C, D, A minor, E, E minor, D minor, F, or if you're a fancy pants, you play your F this way, that's cool too, right? Okay, that's what it means. It doesn't mean it's good, it's bad, or it's otherwise. That is the reality of guitar, right there. Now, those are sometimes referred to as cowboy chords, right? Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean you're a cowboy or that you're an idiot or that you're stupid or anything like that. That is just a reference, really, in my opinion, to the fact that, well, country music, go all the way back to cowboys sitting around the campfire in the middle of a good posse, right? Hunting for that rustler. And someone breaks out the guitar and they're playing D, G, A minor, old folk songs and things like that. So to me, cowboy chords, if you play cowboy chords, it really means that you just play open chords that are synonymous with country music. But they're also with pop music, indie music, punk, rock, you name it. Americana, that's kind of like that roots sort of thing. John Prine, all these people, open chords. And yes, there are some bar chords mingled in, and yes, there's some note picking in there, but they play open chords. So from my experience, and what got me to start playing notes, was just start to understand the notes in this area of the guitar, the good notes, the notes that are almost like bulletproof. You can use them with any chords, and they'll all sound good. Now, I'm not against the whole, how do we make a chord, okay? Well, I mean, it's simple. It's made from the scale. So a G chord is made from the G major scale. And the E chord is made from the E, and on and on. I'm not going to get into that. What we have to understand that almost all of the notes, and I'm going to use these 3 frets, almost all of the notes here are all good usable notes with all of the open chords that we play. Now, without getting into the theory, let's just take a look at this, right? Let's look at our chords. We play C, okay? We have notes from those 3 frets that make up that C chord, both fretted and open. And we play a same thing. We've got notes from all of these 3 frets that are being fretted or played open. The strings are played open. In any chord that we want to fret, it's just the way it is. So it stands to reason that if we take some of those chords that make, or notes that make up those open chords and play them by themselves or a la carte, it should sound good, right? And it will sound good. So let me just, to get your minds going, because at some point, you know what I always say, right? Your guitar journey can be a long one. It can be as long as you make it, but you can stop at any time. And with everything that you've built up until the time in your journey you stop, that will give you the tools to be able to play the guitar that you want to play for the rest of your life. It's just a matter of what level are you at? How good are you? How versatile are you? And I really shouldn't even say how good you are, because you can be a really, really good guitar player and only play 4 chords. And roll those 4 chords in different combinations to be able to play thousands of your favorite songs, okay? So does that mean that you're not a good guitar player? And then you have someone else who can play some barks, some power chords, and some scales, and some open chords, but they can't really play any of them very well. Well, you as a guy that can only, or a girl that can only play 3 or 4 chords, but play them really well and play songs and make them melodic, well, you're a better guitar player than that person that kind of knows a little bit of jack of all trades, master of none, right? So what we're going to look at today is some of the notes, frets, and what are they, where do they come from, and how can I take it upon myself to learn more about them? Well, it's really quite simple. The notes in these 3 frets, for the most part, come from the open positions of scales, namely the major scale or the pentatonic scale. Now look, there are all kinds of scales. We know that, all right? I get asked all the time, what scales should I learn? All right, so my answer is always the same. I know 2 scales. Now, I know them in multiple positions, okay? And I do know other scales, right? But it's how would you say it? It's important that you master, just like I just mentioned, you master a scale before you move on to another one, right? If you're happy, play it, absolutely. But also, it has to sound good, right? Which, of course, is making you happy. So if you were playing notes that didn't sound good, you wouldn't be happy, that you wouldn't play it. I'm sure that's what you mean. But yeah, you're right. Play what makes you happy, what sounds right. Trust your ear to tell you what sounds. Now, what are some of those notes? Well, I can tell you right now that without going over, okay, this is the pentatonic scale in the open position, The notes that I favor, the notes that I use all the time, that most people all the time, come from two scales in this position. The major scale and the pentatonic scale, or the minor pentatonic scale. And people ask me all the time, right? You could play, if I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but you can play one note at a time. In fact, I'm going to do that right now, okay? So people ask me all the time, what scale should I learn starting out? Well, it's, for me, the number one scale that I call it the all-purpose scale is the minor pentatonic, okay? It's like the all-purpose flower of scales. You can kind of play it, well, you can play it over anything, no matter what genre of music, and it should be okay. If you really want to get specialized, of course, if you're playing in the blues, you might want to play from a blues scale. There's a reason it's a blues scale. It's got certain notes that are good, you know, all that stuff, okay? But the A, or the minor pentatonic, that's the one we learn right off the bat in A, right here in the middle of the guitar, will get you through anything. And I've proven that here on this show many, many times. I've played over a numbers of backing tracks in all genres, use nothing but the minor pentatonic scale, and it can sound just fine. The second scale that you should learn, you don't necessarily have to play it in all the positions, but you should know how it works. You should know the formula of it, and that's the major scale. That's that 2-1, 2-2-2-1, because the major scale is the foundation of all music. So what that allows you to do, once you know how to put the major scale together, that also allows you to find chords in a key, because in the key, the first chord, number one chord, would be the D. Then you go up 2. So the next chord would be 2 frets up, that would be an E. So the second chord in the key of D is E. And then you go up 2 more frets, so E to F sharp. So D, E, would be E minor, but I'm just showing, like, because it's a second chord, but I don't want to get too much into that theory. But D, E minor, F sharp would be your first 3 chords based on the 2-2-1. And then from F sharp minor, we go up 1. So that would be a G. So now you know the chords in your D, the key of D. 1 is D, 2 is E minor, right? 3 is F sharp minor, and 4 is G. That's it. Using the 2-2-1, 2-2-1 of the major scale. That's why it's a very important scale to know. Now in these 3 frets, we have notes that from these 2 scales. We've got notes here from the D minor pentatonic scale, the E minor pentatonic scale, we've got the C pentatonic scale, we've got notes from the major scale. Let me explain. So when we play our chords, let's say C, okay, we know because every chord we play in the open position, except for A, and you could even make that work, your ring finger is on the root note. Okay? So in this case, if I'm playing a C, I know that's a root note. Now I also have a root note down here on the pointer finger. That's a C too, but I'm just talking about the bass root note right here. And my ring finger is on a root note. Some chords have 2 root notes, as you can just see. So what I do from here, or what I can do, is I can play, remember 2 frets is the magic key here. That's the magic, okay? That keeps us on natural major notes. We don't go sharp or flat. D or C, I can go to D, 2 frets up. I can go back to C, I can go up to D, I can go up to G, I can go to A. So I can play little 4-note boxes, right? Now, we're out of the 3rd fret, but we're still connected by this note G. But I can also go backwards and play out of here. Okay, so I've got all these notes at my disposal. Now, you don't have to know what you're playing. It helps, and eventually you will know. I didn't know for years what I was playing. Told me to go like this. Okay, Ray, play this riff right here. Great. What was I playing? I have no idea. I didn't even know what the notes were. I just knew that I had to do this. If I did that, my buddy's happy. Okay? So nothing wrong with being that type of a guitar player. That's not what this is all about, right? you can be that type of guitar player. There's nothing wrong with it. But eventually, you're going to want to know, what am I playing there? Why does it all sound good together? Well, in this case, they're all notes from a pentatonic scale, right? Remember the pentatonic scale? That right here, the A, we go. Well, that's what it is here, except we don't have this fourth fret here. It's open past the nut, so play it as an open string. So really, here's our pentatonic, right? That's the same as that. Just can't play it this note here, so we play the open string. So I'm really playing doing this. Whatever. But yeah, you see? So these notes here, what are they? Where they come from? They come from those two scales I mentioned. They come from the minor pentatonic of G, E minor, and C, and they come from the major scale as well. So let me show you why and when you should know this, okay? And even if you should know it. I don't know, let's say I'm getting a little fancy and I got a little riff here, okay? And I want to kind of all right, it seemed to sound okay. It all went together. But how did I know? If you noticed, I played one note and not the other. Well, how did I know? Because in my mind, I was thinking when I got here to the open position, right? So now, I started thinking, okay, where am I at here? This is the pentatonic, but this isn't in the pentatonic. Right? So I switched, went here to the A, and now have the opportunity to play up the major scale. So the major scale would be G, so it would be here, look, G, right? There's your major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, right? There's your major scale. E, A, B, C, D, E, right? That we can go, so when I'm coming up, I'm on the A here, right? So I just knew that I want to play a G note. I got to get to this fret right here. So in order to do that, I can go like this, but I might hit a bad note somewhere along the way. So I knew I had to play up the major scale. So it helped what the major scale is in this position. And in this case, it's this, right? It's scale right here. Right? That's the major scale. That's when it becomes beneficial or advantageous for you to know where your scales are. Okay? So again, this isn't about, hey, let's all learn this today and memorize it. This is about more the big picture. Why should I be doing this? Why should I put the time in to sit here and go, okay, what's the G or E minor pentatonic? Because remember, they're both the same. They're relative minors. E minor is a relative minor to G. They're going to share the same scale. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the open strings. Right? Scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. There's my G minor pentatonic scale. Okay? So I can play any of those notes in any way I want with a G note. or with minor, because they share the same notes. And that's so important to know at some point. C and A minor share the same notes. G and E minor share the same notes and scale. Everybody has a relative minor, okay? So in this 3 frets, we have notes from those 2 scales. We've got notes from the major scale, and we've got notes from the minor pentatonic that we can open chords. Now it's just a matter of how do I want it to sound, and making sure that, as I think Jeff mentioned, hey, if it makes you happy, play it. So now I got some options. So I can go major scale, right? There's the major scale, right? We're going to play major scale, major scale, major scale, C. Major scale, G. To tie them together. That's just one small example. Major scale, major scale, major scale, major scale, major scale, C. I can't play a bad note if I stick to that. Right? Let's do the same in C. So we're playing C, right? Now it's almost the center and it's just moved down one. So so we're in G, we go from the G note to the B note, right? So that's top string, 6th string, 3rd fret, to the 5th string, 2nd fret. Well, when we're in C, we're starting on the C note, 5th. So we're going to go, the next one will be right here. Sorry. That's off C. We can play the C chord at any time. So we have our C shape ready to go. We're playing off of our root note, off of our ring finger, and we're just following that E pentatonic thing going on. We're taking advantage of the open strings, and we just play our C anytime we want. Now, if we want to go to, say, C to D, and we want to use the notes in between, we C, okay? There we go. Now root D is here, so we can go back to the C. Start on C, right? Take this note here, which is your E, C, E, right? Open G, C, E, open G, fretted G, which is an A, and into the D. Now let's back up for a second. Let's look. What are the notes of the C major chord? C, E, and G. What are we playing from C to D? C, E, G, D. Okay, now when we come back, we're going to play D, and you can any way that sounds good. This is just one way, right? D, A, D, A. Now when we play a D chord, D is the root. We have an open D root up here, the root. A is right here, and we have an F sharp. So in this case, we're going to play the D chord, then we're going to play the D root, the A note, the open G, or we can just go A to E, or A to open D and E. They're all going to work well, right? We have options, whatever our ear, and again, as Jeff said, whatever makes you happy. But that's what you need to start thinking like in order to start playing notes in and around your open chords. You got to know what you're playing. So if you're playing a C and you decide to do this, that doesn't work, right? That note right there, that's an A flat or a G sharp. It doesn't go. There's your C. Those all, that didn't go. So that's where your ears pop in. So remember, not all of these notes, you just have to know which ones are which. And I can tell you right now, in the open position, major and the pentatonics, you're very rarely going to use those first fretted strings from 5, 4, and 3. They're very rare, okay? So you're going to use this one, that's your C. Everything 2 frets up, there's your D, and your F, G. That's a very important box. C, D, F, G is the same as here. C, D, G, same box, right? So that's an important box to know, right? And then we're going to come over 1, remember, crossing the border from the silver to the bronze or the bronze to the silver. We come over 1 fret, and then we have an A. So that's going to, I don't even have to worry about it, think about it. That's going to sound good, right? Listen. Up to the G. Okay? That's the thing that you don't necessarily have to say, okay, I got to know the note that I'm going to play in my head. At some point it becomes feel and instinct, and you got to go with that, right? That's the reality. But it does help if while you're playing your chords, you can look down at your fretboard and know I'm playing a D, I want to go to a G. Now I could just do that. Absolutely, that's what we're doing now. C, D, G. But maybe we'd like to be able to do this. C. So we need to know which are good notes. Now look what I'm playing now, right? So let's take another look at what I'm playing. I'm in a D shape. I got my ring fingers on a root of D, right? So I'm playing the D, and I'm not breaking the D yet, like the D shape of the chord yet. And now I got this on my forefinger. I got this A. So I'm going D, 1, A. Or I could play D and then D, A, open D. I could do that as well, right? Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Oh, that's why you're called Pacific Northwest guy. Now, wouldn't it be cool if you were from the Southeast? So you could be Pacific Northeast dude, but you live in the Southeast. No, Pacific Northwest dude, but you live in the Southeast. I'm just playing with you. Welcome. So we're right in the middle of kind of just without getting into anything really majorly technical here, I'm just showing you why these notes of the 2nd fret are so important when you start breaking that mold of just being an open chord player. Okay, and where they come from. So if you want to take a quick look and a quick glance, right? So we're playing C, and now we're going to go down to the D, or up to the D. So we play our C note, play the root of C if we want. We don't have to. I can play this one right, my big finger, right? That's your E. So I could go C, open D, open E, open G, open A, D. Coming back, I could go D, A, E, C. To the G. So in this case, I played G, B, open D, C. Now I could do it this way too. I can go G, B, open A, C. It sounded just as good, just different. That's it. So, you know, there's not one way. There's no, oh, that's right and that's wrong, right? There's none of that. They all sound good. Which one suits what you want to hear in your head or what you need to play with or, you know, play along with, right? Okay, but it's important to know where they come from. So let's take a look at the C. So C pentatonic, right, the minor pentatonic, there's your root C. Right? Then we have, we got the E right here, C, E, C, E, right? So we have C, E, C, I'm sorry, C, D, E, right? Okay. And then we have G. So we have an open G. So C, remember the notes of the pentatonic, right? Would be C, D, E, G, and then would be A. So C, so it's good what those notes are that you're playing. Now, I could use notes, these are also notes from the major scale, right? So I play a C chord, that's a note from the major scale. From the G major scale. In the G major scale, we have G, A, B, C. It's a different shape than the pentatonic. There's your major scale. So we have that shape in our mind. So if I'm doing something and I find myself here, I know that that's both pentatonic and major. It's in the open pentatonic position, and it's in the first position of G major scale. So I can kind of go either way with this. I could go A to B, or I'm sorry, E to F sharp, or A to B, and make my little 4-note box. That's a nice little run right there. Okay? Or I could go, is all major pentatonic. So it's just a matter of knowing your patterns, right? And you don't have to, like, it is a feel thing. Because remember, as you build your guitar foundation, your ear is a big part of that. I've always said that. At the beginning of your journey, it's left hand, right hand. We got to get those two working together, right? They got to be coordinated. What's going on? Even if I'm playing notes, my finger has to where my picking string is, right? Everything has to work. That's the first part. Then over time, after we get playing a few ever, we got to start using our ears and know, hey, that's a good sound G chord, right? Or this isn't a good sounding G chord because my ear said, oh, that doesn't sound right. You're fretting improperly, or you've got your finger on a wrong string. So we need to start bringing our ears into it. And then our brain, that's going to come in when we're talking about stuff like this, okay? When we're talking about working around the fretboard. It's good to know where I am right now. What's that note right there? What is that note? A note. Now it's part of the pentatonic, okay? But it's also a note from the major scale of G. So it's got two sort of functions. We can go either way with this right now. Okay, so we could go from here to here and play that half step. That's the major scale in G. And we can repeat that up here. Now we're in the major scale mode. We're playing in the major scale because the pentatonic doesn't have any half steps like that. It's all 2 frets apart. So it helps if you know as you're playing, or that when you're about to play it, where you are and what you're playing. Now I'm in G major, G major scale. So I kind of should stay in the G major scale, right? So we got to think of that now, right? This is all G major scale right here. Any way I want to play them, and I don't have to play them in order. I don't have to play all of the notes. I can repeat just 3 notes, 2 notes, 4 notes, from that scale. It doesn't matter. It's whatever I need to sound good with what I'm playing. But you probably shouldn't that scale, right? Because even G and C go well together, right? They're like really good. They're like chocolate and vanilla, chocolate fudge on vanilla ice cream, or chocolate with peanut butter, however. It's still not proper to be going from the G major scale to the C minor pentatonic scale. Like, you should stay, in my opinion. Half the time, or a lot of times, you probably won't even notice the difference if you go either way, but it really helps if you stay within, stay consistent, right? So again, what we've seen here is between the two scales, look at all these notes we have. And so we have, that's just pentatonic for both G and E minor. Okay? And now we have a C pentatonic. Oops. We have notes from the C pentatonic. So really, just from those two scale shapes, the only notes that we're kind of excluding are this one here, which is the 5th fret at the first, or the 5th string at the 1st fret, and the 4th string at the 1st fret, and the 3rd string at the 1st fret. Every other note is kind of acceptable to use. We're not using the A or the B flat. Okay, so that would be another note that we never go to. Should I stand corrected on that? No, we do. We do that when we're in the major pentatonic, right? Because we're in the G major pentatonic. No, we don't play that B flat. Sorry, my mistake. So we don't play 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 notes right there. 4 notes. Everything else is pretty much fair game. Oh, and we don't play here. Right? Because we go C to D. And if it's open pentatonic, we go like this. So you really don't even have to know your 2 scales. You just have to know the bad notes. The ones you can't play, which is, again, all along this 1st fret from 5, 4, and 3, and we don't play the B flat or the A sharp, okay? And we don't play this note right here, which is, again, A sharp or B flat there, and we don't play this note right here, F, right? Either way you look at it, however it helps you remember. So those are the notes. Now, in my library, I think one of the videos is called The Secret Fret. And then I cross out the secret. I think it says the 2nd fret, notes from the 2nd fret. So important for open chord players. So again, pretty much anything right here, 5, 4, 3, from 5, 4, and 3 string, you can play 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Valuable. Those are just gold notes, because those notes will connect all of your open chords together. Now, you may use other notes as well, but all you need notes, right? So coming from the G, if we went C, coming from the C, D, if we only went like this. So there's something for you to try. Take G, C, and D. Play your G chord, and then just play with your big finger, this finger. Open, 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 C. Right? And just practice using those notes in the 2nd fret to stitch together your open chords, right? So we play G, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D, C, G, C, D, C. And it's all those notes right here. 3 strings, 6 notes. 3 string open and fretted at the 2nd fret produces 6 notes that we can use with all of our open chords. Where they come from, you don't have to know that right now, okay? But these are generally from 2 places. They're part of the minor pentatonic scale in both C and E minor and G, and they're part of the major scale in G. So, you know, at first you don't have to know that, but as you move on, you'll find that it's going to know, right? Other than that, always remember that wherever you play a good note, you can play 2 frets up and usually 2 frets down, but not always down. I have no idea. But it always sounds better going up than down. Okay? And, you know, having said that, there's many times where you can only play going up, maybe that far, and then when you go to this note, you're out of the reach. You're out from the key of the song. Like, it just doesn't work as well. But for the most part, it just seems that you can push it and push it. And when I say push it, those of you that know me know that I generally play my own scale. I play what I call the Ray scale or the octave scale, which is just those 2 to the octave, right? Over the border. So we're starting in A, B, D, E. To the octave, there's A, slide over the border, and there's my next A. I don't really even have to look. Now, I push it by, when I get to the end of my run, I'm in A still. I started in A, and I finish here in A. I say, take the next 2 frets there, whatever that note is, and you'll be okay. And you are. So to sum it up, look. See, there's that pushing. Let's push it again. Might not work. And it might. Right? You can push. And that practice is about. And if you push and you don't think it works, then it's in your mind. When you play in front of someone, you're not going to do that. Right? But rest assured, no matter where you start, you can always push once. So there's my octave. There's G, right? G, G, A, D, E, G, A, D, E. So there's my octave of G. I started in G, now there's my octave. I slide over 2. Right? Now I can play those same notes again. G, A, D, E. So there's G, A, there's D, E. Okay? Cross the border, come up 1, and there's my, right here is my A. And there's the root G. Now I can go and push it to get that B. Right? Some you can keep going, sometimes you can't. But again, that's what practice is for. And it all depends on what you're playing to, okay? So, you know, playing open, don't think that it's some kind of like, I know in England, when I don't know if they still do this, but when you were learning how to drive, you had to have a big red L on the back of your car to tell everybody that you're learning. I don't like that, right? And part of our problem as open guitar players and early guitar players, like playing in the first couple of years, we tend to think, you know, we tend to think that we're always beginners. Well, we're not. At some point we switch, but there's no test, there's no exam at our level. If we were at music school or going to your local, you know, state conservatory of music, and maybe you want to be a teacher, then you have to have certain, I think they call them levels, and you have to prove that you know each level all the way up. Okay, cool, I get that. But for us, here on YouTube, we don't have that. it really comes within, or how others see us, is what level we're at, really. So many of us, me included, I used to get so hung up on, God, I'm not playing enough bar chords. I should be playing more bar chords because I'm not going to ever be a really good guitar player if I don't play bar chords. Well, you know, that's never, ever been a problem for me. And like I said earlier in the show, you're better off knowing 3 chords or 4 chords and being able to play them fantastically, smooth, and they all ring out nicely, and play them in any combination. And then you can change the combinations to play, you know, thousands of songs. It's better to be like that than, again, someone who can play some bar chords, but then, oh, I hit a clunker. Oh yeah, I never know how to play the A-based ones. I only try to play the E-shaped bar. Well, you get what I'm saying? Like, to improvise, you're pushing intermediateship for sure. And I'm not saying you can't do that as a beginner, but if you're talking about this, someone is playing, okay? We're in an open mic, an open jam, someone is playing this, or 3 people are playing that, and I'm the outside guy. And I sit down, and I go, okay, I want to play along. Is this what you're talking about, improvising? So if that's what you mean, you could be at any level to do that. It just seems to me, it never happened with me, and it never happened with anybody that I know that started out in the last so many years, and after 3 months they're playing what I just did. Not that what I just did, it was difficult, or I'm not trying to say blow my horn here, not at all. I'm just trying to, I think, answer, to do what I just did, okay? As simplistic as that was, requires 2 really important factors that we tend to not have as beginners. Factors are confidence and some basic fretboard knowledge. Those are the 2 things. The other aspect of that, which goes for everybody at every level doing anything, is practice. But we practice every day. We practice our open chords, then we sing bar chords, and we start practicing scales. So it goes without saying that in order to play guitar, you got to practice. So I kind of leave that one out, because that's, everybody has to practice no matter what level you're at. If you're professional and you're recording an album with a top band, I'm pretty sure that today you're practicing what you're going to have to do in the studio tomorrow. So practice goes without. But what you saw me do there, right? The reason I was able to not, so here's what a beginner might do, okay? A beginner might do this. Right? A mile an hour, hitting bad notes because you're going too fast, because you're not relaxing, you're not confident, I got this under control. You're kind of not thinking of the rhythm and the tempo of the song or the question because you're not comfortable. You're in survival mode, trying not to make a mistake, okay? That's hard to get as an early beginner. That will come the more you're around your guitar. The second thing, I need to know what notes I can play. And the only way I'm gonna know that without the inner Google, and if I'm at a jam, I'm not gonna, I sit there and go, okay, if I don't know what they're playing, what key they're playing in, I can't Google anything. Like, what's that gonna do? I have to know that, okay, they're in the key of C. They've either told me or I watched them in chords they're playing. So in this case, they're playing C, A minor, D minor, G, okay? Now, without technical, that would be the key of C. If it was the key of G, the D minor would be a D major, but we're not gonna go there right now. So that's the key of C. So my theory kicked in. Hey, with those chords, they're playing in the key of C. So I'm gonna play off a C note, which is all I did. So I'm playing C, D, F, G, and the chords are A minor, D minor, G, and C. Okay, so I've got the notes of the chords that I'm playing, and the other two notes, F and what notes am I playing? C, right? I'm playing C, D, F, G. The C, D, F, G, I've got all chords covered. C, G, which that's the A minor, but G, and I've got D covered, right? C, D, F, G. So I've got 3 of the 4 notes in my chord progression covered. Even though it's a D minor, it's still a D note that I play. 3 notes out of the 4 chords I can play in a box. I could play it here. Now I could play those in any order. I want to try to match the root note, like the beginning and the end, what we call the tonic note, where it starts and where it comes back to. In this case, it looks like it's the C because it's the key. So again, to answer your question, that's when it doesn't matter how long you've been playing. That's what you need, a basic level to be able to do what I just did. You got to know the key, you got to know what notes would work well with those chords, and you got to be confident and relaxed. Listen, it's not rock here. This is a mellow song, so I have to pick up. My brain picks up the general beats per minute. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? All those things have to go into your brain. So I hope that answers your question, right? You could improvise as a beginner. I got to tell you, I know many. Well, that depends on you. Sava. If that's how you pronounce your name, Sava. That depends. You should always practice to music that you like, that makes you feel something. Okay? If you're practicing what I just went through and showed you, like if you're practicing how to sort of play along or play a solo. If that's the case, then what you'd want to do is find out whatever scale you can play. Let's say you only know one scale, and it's the minor pentatonic scale. And use the inner Google to Google songs that use pentatonic solos. Oh, and there are thousands of them, and some of the biggest songs in history in all genres have a minor pentatonic solo, or whatever scale. Maybe you know the major scale. So you want to find out songs that have a major scale solo. Like for example, this is just an example. Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. The solo in that is minor pentatonic. It is I'm going to say B minor pentatonic scale. okay? So of course, that's what you're gonna want. That song, if you know your minor pentatonic, you use that song if you like it and practice so that you can actually start to hear, oh yeah, I've heard that song 10,000 times. That's how it goes. Does that make sense? So it's no matter of what I or anybody recommends. Like if someone is teaching you to play the guitar and they're force feeding you things like, okay, to this band and learn the solo. Well, okay, I guess it's a good test, but you're gonna wanna learn solos. You'll learn them easier from songs that you actually listen to and you actually enjoy, okay? So I can answer that. Hey, it's funny, bass fishing, preach it, brother, bass fishing, but it's a bass guitar. Have you ever wondered about that? Spelt the same, but it's bass fishing, not bass fishing. It's not a bass guitar, it's a bass guitar. Isn't that weird? Yeah. It's so important, and for those of you that watch and you know, I allude to this so often. Well, partly because I've always got new people coming and going. I think you all understand. I've got to regurgitate things. But it's important because, look, I was there, and I'm still there. I'm still on my guitar. I'll never get off of it. Nobody does, until you reach the top. And even then, there's probably a level that they aspire to. So you play Madison Square Garden in New York on a Friday. Saturday, maybe you're practicing to go to the next level, right? You know, I can't play Hotel California. I know how to play. I sing it and play it. I do it in gigs, but I don't want to, that will give me a copyright, and I won't be able to leave this video up if I do that. So if you want to see me play songs, sometimes I come on here and I just say, I'm playing songs, and I delete the video because I get all these copy things afterwards. Or I go over and I play on Street Jelly or Twitch, and I just sit and play a gig. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's weird, the way that works out. But yeah, no, so again, I can't say it enough that starting out, I couldn't find anywhere that was, well, enough and low enough to make me understand, because I'm not a musician. I'm not a lifelong musician. I didn't start playing until I was 50. So I knew nothing. As a result, I had no confidence. I always thought I was wrong. I always thought I couldn't do it. And so, you know, it's so important, it's so important to hear certain things at the lowest possible level. And sometimes, you got to hear them over and over again. So, the 20th and 30th time that I heard about what I'm talking about today, it didn't kick in. 48th time that I heard it, it finally kicked in and the light bulb went on. And as far as the system, yeah, the cage system, look, these are all advanced things, no matter what anyone says, okay? The system is not easy. It requires a level of finger dexterity that a lot of players in their first couple of years have not yet built up. And it requires theory. You have to know, when are you flattening your third? When aren't you flat? So that affects your fingering of the chords, right? So, like for example, we look at this. So here's a D chord. Well, it's real simple that if I take this finger, this note in the D, and I swap it for this note here in the D. Now I can't pull this finger over, so I have to change my fingering to play the D7 instead of the D major, because I've got to flatten one of those notes. Can't do it, so I have to rethink how I'm going to finger it. Well, the cage system, you do have to know about this stuff. Okay, they make it sound, because they just want you to, get hits and views. They make it sound like it's that you don't. No, you can do it. No. I play with the caged myself here and there, But I'm not a big, just like triads. I play many triads, but I don't know every triad set on all the bunches, all the sets, right? I know some of the shapes. I know that I can move some of the shapes to get other, but I don't, because I really don't need, I've never needed to use triads. So I've never put the time in and the effort to master them. I just know and get by with what I know, if that makes any sense, right? I don't really know anything from Mariah Carey. I believe she was the one, I remember one time, New Year's Eve, she got caught lip syncing when her gig malfunctioned or something. And I was watching it thinking, oh, maybe that's the effect. Maybe they've gone out of sync with the television station, but as it turns out, there was an issue. But as far as things like triads, for example, many of us are playing triads, and sometimes you don't even know it. So if you've ever watched my videos, I put them up sometimes so I can get roasted, which is, people have a problem with this chord right here. Everybody plays things different because in this case I have a weird first finger so it looks bent. Everybody plays their bars different, but there's your B major bar chord, okay? Sometimes I play it with 2 fingers here because I just find it easier to fret those strings. Okay, so that's a B major bar chord that a lot of people, a lot of beginners cannot play, right? Now, so to answer your question about Mariah Carey, I'm a big fan of that type of music. I have nothing against her, or I don't even think of some of the other, Olivia Rodriguez, Duo, Lupia, or whatever it is. All those, they're fantastic, they're great. It's just not my style of music, right? So therefore, it's not my thing. So I don't listen and I don't really dig into it. I like watching them. They look great, absolutely, but it's not my style of music. Mariah Carey would be in there, Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo. It's just not my style, okay? So anyways, the B chord, right? So there's our B bar chord. Well, sometimes I post little hacks, and one of the hacks is this. Play your B this way. Simple, done, no bar. And there's my B major. So, I don't know, I don't want to play the songs, I don't want to get copyrighted. If I'm only gonna if I need a B major for maybe 2 beats, maybe 1 bar of music or half a bar of music, what I'll do is I'll just slide, okay? So if we really analyze this, what's a B major? Well, it's an A, right here, A. You guys play your A this way with the 3 fingers. Moved up 2 frets is a B, okay? Then we add the bar. So if we don't add the bar, and we just go A, there's your B. A, B, B. Okay, here's the bar B. Here's tell me there's a difference. Now there is a difference, a subtle difference, because again, the question earlier, when do you know that you are able to do something or what level you're at? Well, you should now know, if you're watching, if you're at a certain level, that, hey, wait a minute, Ray, the reason that's not going to sound the same, even these 3 strings are in a B major and you're fretting those 3 strings, albeit with a different finger, you're not playing this note here. And that's what? That's a B. So there's your B on your B major bar chord. We're taking that away and we're just playing the 3 strings. So it's not going to sound the same. But it is, in fact, a B triad. Okay? So there's maybe an example of, here's another thing that people do that don't realize that I'm playing a triad. Okay? So the best one for me, I like the F note, the F sharp, the F chord, sorry. So you get your F chord here. If I take that F chord and I play it here, I'm actually playing a G, because F up 2 frets, right? That's, remember, the major scale, 2, 2, 1. So F, G, A, everything goes up 2. F, G, A, F, G, A, right? So these are triads. I'm only playing the 3 strings that I'm fretting. I'm not playing this one, and I'm not playing these 2. I'm just playing those 3. There's a triad, okay? So technically, triad, C triad, D triad, E triad, F triad, G triad, triad, because after the double dots, this is the same as this. Same notes, same everything. So I'm playing triads. Done, I've got my triads. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now there's plenty others because of string sets. To play triads on, each string set requires a different shape, right? So lastly, here's another one that we learn as beginners, but we don't know what we're doing, is you'll be learning a song and they'll say, okay, play D. Huh? What was that? Well, D shape, and moved up, in this case right here, to this fret right here, 7th fret. D, same shape, played here, is now a G, right? Because we have D, up 2 is an E, up 1 because there's no E sharps, an F, up 2, and that's a G. Well, you're just playing a triad, because once we leave the home base of the open chord, we're not playing this open D string, the root, this root, the lowest root of the open chord. We're not playing that. We're just playing the 3 that we're fretting. Now we're playing a G. So D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Just octave higher. Triads. He just played triads. Didn't even know it. Right? So, anyways, there's plenty of others. But again, to answer your question, I kind of get by on those triads, no. And once in a while, when I'm in the mood and I'm all motivated and inspired, yeah, I'll look at maybe the triads on these 3 strings and figure out the shapes, okay? And again, the triad thing you need some theory, right? So, Thang Boy, is Tang or Thang? Thang Boy, hope to learn from you. Well, I hope so too. You're a raw beginner. Okay, so if you go on my channel, and welcome, by the way, and if you do think I can help you out, by all means, please hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to support a channel. You hit the subscribe button, and then when I go live, I will have a structured schedule of when we'll be live for beginners and intermediates, different types of, not lessons, but talk and demonstrations. Maybe lessons if you want to call them that way. And when I go on, you'll be notified, right? And I come on generally often. I'll be on way more often starting in a few weeks. I'll be on probably every other day. So thank you for that. And yeah, go through my stuff. It's all simplistic stuff. Ask any questions, or you can write them down and you can join me on a live and you can ask all the questions you want. So the biggest thing I would say right now is your focus as a very new guitar player with a brand new guitar, your focus really should be on one thing, okay? And I'm going to ask you, do look too far ahead. Don't look ahead and see these guys playing, Don't look at that. Don't look at that. What I just is nothing fancy, but it does require, it's a result of practice. And you don't have that dexterity, that coordination, the guitar foundation is what I call it. You don't have that yet, right? So you're already, okay, so you know 3 chords, D, C, and G, but okay. Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If you want to sing, right, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're playing those chords properly, that they sound like a G, a C, and a D, okay? Because you're going to match your voice to that. You need something that's reliable, okay? So make sure that you've got your guitar playing to the point where you can play G without even looking or thinking about it. Play them in any order. Right? And you don't even have to think about your strumming. Now you can put your strumming on autopilot, right? Like it just kind of, don't worry about it. You're not thinking about it, and you can think of it, because it's very difficult to sing and play at the same time. Think of a juggler, right? I always use that analogy of the juggler. 1 ball, no problem. 2 balls, hey, no problem. 3 balls, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I put the 3rd ball in. I have to have built up a mechanism that I know how long that ball's going to be in the air, what I got to do with this hand while that ball's up, what I got to do, like, it's difficult. But after a day, 2, 3, week, whatever, you're not dropping the ball as much anymore. And then after a month, you're not dropping it ever. And that's guitar playing. You got to get this figured out. With these 2, I call it a guitar foundation. You got to get the motor skills, G, C, D, C, D, G. I'm not looking, but I can still do it, no problem. You want to be able to play them slow and soft. Or okay, get to that. Then what you want to do is start matching your voice to the chords. So I used to do this. I still do it, but I used to do this a lot. And listen, it's an objective. If I'm not on the right key, it'll sound like this. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Start by humming, whistling. Okay, start that way. Okay? But yes, singing, it's just a matter of this. Matching, all you're doing when you're singing is you're introducing a second instrument. Now that could be a harmonica, it could be a fiddle, but what you need to do is you need to create a voicing. That's what we call, like when you play a D chord, it's called a voicing because it's the voice of the chord, the way the chord sounds. So what you now need to do is match this to this. Right? So C, oh, up to G, up to the D, down to the C, down to the G, 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 C, D, right? And listen and be objective. So that's what you're that's what you do, right? And it's not hard. It's like anything we do here. It is all about the practice, okay? In anything you do in life, your job, your education, your hobbies, your arts and crafts, your sport activities, golf, tennis, baseball, hockey, whatever it is, requires practice. You have to learn how to do it properly, and then you have to repetition, practice. Okay, I use golf or tennis as an example because it's an example of an extreme hand-eye coordination sport. This is hand coordination. You got left hand, right hand, they all have to be on the same page. you have to be on the same page. That is practice. Practice, practice. So with your voice, it's the same thing. Ha, ho, ho. Ha, ho, ho. Ha, ho, 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 yeah. Da, 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 da. So again, I started out doing that, and I did some whistling, just to kind of get on the same level with my guitar playing. And then the rest is just do it, right? When I started singing, it was terrible. It was awful. I mean, I don't even want to go there. It's horrible. But it gets better. How does it get better? Practice, practice, practice. Every day, the more you can. I say, oh, you only need 20 minutes a day. True. It's more important to pick up your guitar for 10 or 15, 20 minutes than it is not to pick it up at all. But in my opinion, and what did it for me, was dedicating myself to this guitar every day. An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, yeah, sometimes. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours. It became obsessed. Some days, 4 or 5 hours sitting in the afternoon. You will get, and you don't have to, of course, but you will get out of it what you put into it. It's one of those things. Everybody can play the guitar, but not everybody can play it at a certain level. Let me just, for those of you wondering about this, look, everybody here has different other likes. Some of us are sport people, some of us are cooking people, some of us are, artistic, some of us are, whatever, mathematical. Now, whatever it is that you do, some of us are at an age where we just learn how to drive. Start learning. Remember when I started to drive, okay? So, it might take me 2 weeks to learn how to drive, to feel comfortable and all that kind of stuff. But does that mean that I can now go into the Formula One race next week and win the race? No. But I can drive a car. So why, if I learn how to cook at home, does that mean now, after a month, I'm ready to open a restaurant and be the head chef? No. So why do we tend to think that, okay, I'm learning the guitar, I can play 3 chords, all right, when's the next gig? It doesn't work that way. You gotta work your way up. And the later you start in life, the longer it's gonna take you to get there. You're gonna be older, you're gonna be too old to get there. But it doesn't mean you can't sit around your yard, your cottage, your local little open mic at the local bar or coffee shop and play really well and do it and everyone thinks you're great. But don't expect that you're going to be playing a sold-out stadium with a world-famous band in 6 months. It's not going to happen. Those are the people, just like professional athletes, professional chefs, professional race car drivers. They dedicate their life to it. Okay? So if you guys are out there and girls that are young, absolutely, you put in your 5, 6, 7 years, you learn all the things from day one, you learn your scales, you learn your notes, of course. But if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and you just want to play favorite songs, right? Don't worry about it. Just learn the chords, 3, 4 chords, practice, and you'll be able to sit around and play all your favorite songs. So you're only 21. You got all kinds of time to do this. Well, you got a bit of a challenge ahead of you. But when you're young, you are so confident, and I was young. When I was young, there wasn't anything I couldn't do in my mind. I could do anything I wanted to do. When you're older, it's a little different. You start overanalyzing, and you start doubting yourself and think, oh, well, I'm too old to do this. I shouldn't be able to do this. I'm 55 years old. I shouldn't be able to sing and play guitar. I've never done it in my life. But when you're young, it's like, I can do anything. So good for you, man. Just keep going. Practice. Properly learn as you go. Pick up bits and pieces at a time. A bit of advice is make sure you master what you're doing before you move on. One of the biggest things I know for me and for people that I talk to that ask me questions, the biggest thing, good luck with your journey, and check in with me, absolutely. Ask me anything you want. I'd like to see it, come to the live shows and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to send me anything, if you want to send a little video, my email address is on. You can either send me a link from a Dropbox or you can send me something. I'd be happy to hear you and see where you're at with this and give you any advice I possibly can. So yeah, I mean, look, get out of it what you put into it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And you do not. So again, the biggest things that I say is don't look too far ahead, and make sure that you really get a good, strong command of what you're learning before you try something else. Because if you don't, what'll happen is, and I know people like this that have been playing guitar for 20 years, they know a little bit of chords, they know a few bar chords, but they play the E-shaped ones, they can't play the A-shaped ones. Oh, and they know a few triads, but they're not very good, so I don't play them very well. And, well, I'm working on my timing is okay, my rhythm, but sometimes it fails. And okay? And at the end of the day, they're a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? By knowing 3 chords and being able to play them seamlessly and sing along, you're ahead of that other person already that knows a little bit of everything but not much of anything. If you know 3 chords inside and out and you play them backwards, forwards, you play them well, they sound good, and you start singing, you're going to be able to sing and play thousands of songs in any genre and do them well. You don't have to know all the little... You don't have to know those little riffs and licks. You don't have to know that. Okay? So here's the difference. This is all it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I go out, I play gigs. I've never had anybody... So here's an example. All right, here's a song, and I don't want to do it because of the copyright, but I'm just going to intro, okay? Sorry. I'm sorry, I forgot the song. Here we go. I'm going to just play the intro. Right? All right, there's the intro to a song, the way it is on the record. Now you're somewhere and you're going to play that song. All you got to do is this. Start playing a song. Or play the chord progression around once. Then start singing. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, it's a Taylor. Oh, yeah, da, da, da. Right? And start singing. Who cares that you play the little diddly-diddly-do at the beginning? Nobody cares. The only people that will care are guitar players that are sitting there going, oh, he didn't play the opening lick. Who cares? Okay? So it's what you make it. And yeah, it's a Taylor, it's a 416. So yeah, don't get all caught up on things like that. Worry about playing your chord. Because once you gain confidence, once you can play music, and once you, in your mind, can say, you know what, I sound pretty darn good, I'm pretty good at this, rest assured, you will sit down in an hour and say, okay, what was that little lick I should know? Let's see, okay. Oh, I got that, yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I got that, that's a piece of cake. Hey, what am I doing here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you make a few mistakes right off the bat. Piece of cake. But you don't need it from day one when you don't know what you're doing and you don't understand why you're playing those notes. Okay? It's just you're watching the inner Google and it says, go like this. What do they do? 0, 2, 0, 2, or whatever the heck it is. So that would be like 0, 0, 2, 0, 3. Right? Okay. 0, 0, 2. Don't worry about it. It will come. Right? The most important thing is learn your 3 chords, which you did, from the same key. Right? Now, I didn't know what keys were. You probably don't know what keys were, some of you here, what they are, what the relevance of a key is. I didn't know. I was just learning chords. Had no idea about what a key was and what the relevance was. But if you learn the 3 chords, that's all you need. You could get by with 2 even, but if you learn 3 chords from the same key, each key, well, has 7, but really 6 chords, right? And then variations of those chords, like A sus, A this, A that. But don't worry about that. A chord is an A chord. Learn the A chord. If it's a C chord, learn the C. Don't worry about 7, C diminished, C augmented, C major is all you need, okay? So you got your C chord, you got your D chord, you got your E chord, you learn those. But you'll find that they're grouped by keys. And the reason is that in a key, if you play any of the 6 chords, well, 7 if you include the diminished, but 6 chords that all music is made out of, and only those 6 chords, you can play any of those chords in any order and they will sound really good. And I'm going to give you a brief example, okay? The key of C, the most popular chord, the granddaddy of all keys, most popular key, not chord, the granddaddy of all keys, 50% or more, all music is written in the key of C. That leaves the other 50% for D, E, F, G, and A and B. So that's how popular the key of C is. And the reason that it's a good key to start with, there's no sharps or flats. What does it mean? It means you don't have to play any bar chords. Okay? All right. So let's look at quickly the chords in the key of C. I'll give you this example. C is number 1. C makes sense, right? What's the first chord of the key of C? C. Okay? D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. Okay? All right, now let me show you what I mean. I am going to play, those were 6 chords. I'm going to play them just random. King of a song, I'm just playing chords randomly. So check it out. We'll start on C because what the heck? G, C, E minor, F, D minor, G, C, E minor, A minor, D minor, C. Now, none of those sounded bad. They all kind of worked. If you were to play 3 or 4 of those in a certain order, you have a hit song. It's that simple. Sort of. Okay? So when they write a song, there are exceptions. There are songs that have key changes, yeah, of course. But for the most part, if a song is written in the key of C, in that song will be 1 or more of those chords. C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. That's it. Right? And then you're going to find out, here's an example, that are certain chord combinations that are used in thousands of hit songs. Because why? Because they sound the best of all of those 6. And that's usually something like this. Try to get up this. There's one popular chord. Okay? Another one might be And you're going to hear that in thousands of songs, different melodies over top. But that's how songs are written. So when you start learning chords and you don't know anything about theory, wouldn't it make sense to learn 3 chords from within the same key? There's all kinds of things on the internet, or you can buy a little book. I use this for some of my live lessons that I do one-on-one. The chord, okay? So we pick a key. I don't know, let's go key of E. So the key of E. And it tells you what your chords are. E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B, C sharp minor. Right there. There's all kinds of these tools so you know what. Now those mostly are bar chords. Some keys have a lot of bar chords in them. C is the only one that has no bar chords. G has 1 bar chord, or 1 sharp, which necessitates playing a bar chord, right? Yeah, generally you can play any song. You can play any song in the key that you want to play it in, that to use the chords that you know. But it will revolve around transposing. You'll have to know how to transpose, or you'll have to let Google do it for you. But yes, it's absolutely possible. Sometimes we use a capo for that. So here, let me, just for the sake of it, okay. So yellow, for example, may have some bar chords in it. So you may have to find a key that doesn't. So what I find here. So I'm not sure how to play that, so I'm looking it up. And all right, so it's a G, D. Yeah, okay, absolutely you can. So the trick here is, though, okay, to play along for whatever reason, or this is, see, that's the other thing when you start relying on the internet, is you don't know how accurate things are. These are somebody's interpretation. I'm not saying these aren't the chords. I'm just saying this could be someone saying, hey guys, if you want to play a cool version of this song, do this. And that's cool. I'm saying 4th fret. So when you put a 4th fret capo and play in the key of G, you're actually playing in the key of B. So this tells me the original song is in the key of B. Now, why did I say that? Well, I don't want to get into this whole lesson of this, but that's a lesson for another time. G with a capo on 4, that would be an A. So capo on 2, play a G. That's it, right? 2 frets from G is an A. So we go 2 more, we're actually playing B. So I'm assuming that the original song is in B. So this is someone's interpretation. So if we put 4th fret on, okay? Look at the stars, how they shine for you, and everything you do, yeah, they're all yellow. There you go, okay? I can't play anymore, or I'll get copyrighted here, but yes, so it is possible, okay? But I think you'll find that in the original song, the way it was written, I think you'll find that it is probably the key of B. So what you'll have then is you'll have to transpose. Now, if you're in the key of B, you're either starting off with a bar chord here, right? It kind of sounds right to me. Or you're playing it here. With the song, right? So that's, you know, yeah, so that's, some people will say, cheating, you're using a capo. But yeah, because if I didn't, I would have to learn how to play a B bar chord. Let this song, right? Then I'd have to learn how to play an F minor, so it'd probably go something like this. Da da da, da 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 da, da 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 da, and then it goes to C, da da da. We're all yellow, right? Okay, that probably is the original version, but we don't want to play 3 bars, right? We don't want to do that. So in this case, you don't know this yet, but with some theory and fretboard theory, as you get better and more experienced, you'll do what they did. Say, hey, wait a minute, if I put a capo on 4, I can play the original key, which is B, but I can play, look at the stars, how they shine for, right? And you can play the chords that you know, and that you know how to play with a capo. Now, it may not sound, or it won't sound like the original song, because the song is in a higher key, or I'm sorry, a lower key, right? You bumped everything up. So I don't want to get too complicated there, but that's generally the whole. Play any song in any key, right? As long as you play the proper chords. That's where the national numbering system comes in. So if a song is, all right, if a song is 1-4-5, you've heard this. Okay, so we're going to play in the key 1-4-5 chord combination. So that means key of C, C would be the 1. 1. What's the 4 chord? Well, C, D, E, F. 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 What's the 5 chord? G. Okay, so my song is C, F, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da. You know where I'm going with this. Ba-da-da-da-da. But I don't know those chords. I want to play it in A. All right. What's the 1 chord of A? It's A. What's the 4 chord? A, B, C, D. So I got to go bum, ba, ba, bum, right? What's the 5th chord? E. Okay, so remember our little riff that we played in the original chord went like this. Bum, bum, ba, da, 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 da. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum. Now we're doing this. We're playing, what's on? I said A, right? Yeah, so I'm playing this. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, bum. Same. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba. In C. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum. It's the same musical relationship, it's just higher or lower. We're playing the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord of the key of C. 1, 4, 5. Now we're moving to the key of A and playing the 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. It sounds different, but it's not. It's the same. It's just higher or lower in a different, like a higher key or a low key. So that's what's happened when I Googled your song. I'm sure there's multiple ways to play your song that you want to play. It works for you and where the capo is. Okay? That's why we bring a capo into play as beginners, or as even professionals use capo. All right? And I don't want to, again, get into this whole capo thing, because that's another show. But when people say, oh, you're cheating yourself, just learn the bar chords. Okay, good point, fair point, and you're right. However, there are certain songs, a number of these songs, Tom Petty does this many times, they use a capo not because they don't know the bar chords or want to play the bar chords, it's because they actually like the voice. Remember, the voicing is the noise, the sound that a certain chord makes when you strum it. They prefer the voicing of this. Capo on 2, playing an F. They might like the way that sounds. So what they're actually playing here is G, because there's a capo on 2, G, D, A, right? So let's listen to here. If we had no capo, right, we'd have to play, we played an F, right? So we're actually, so we'd have to play, and then we're playing, so we're playing G, D, A, okay? So no capo. same thing. It doesn't sound the way, right? But they preferred, even though it's the same, they're playing in the key of G, they just have a capo on 2, and they're playing F. It's still a G. I'm playing a G right now. So if I was to take a G, put it on a looper pedal, that's a G. Put a capo on 2, and play an F. Sounds the same. There's no sourness. If I take the capo off and play an F, oh my God, listen. Put a capo on, play an F, now I'm playing a G. G. That's how that works. Okay? So the capo isn't always a cheat. I will check it out, Clarissa. To be honest, I actually don't mind Lady Gaga. I don't like some of her early stuff where it was, you know, that typical pop music sound. You know what I mean? I like to hear instruments, especially guitars and stuff. Well, she's very talented, and absolutely, I will check it out. Thank you for the recommendation, right? But so that's the capo. So if someone tells you, oh, don't use a capo, just don't be lazy, learn the chords. No, you know what? No, I don't have to. I will play what sounds good to me. Let me give you an example. There's a song I like to play, and I used to play it like this. Okay? But you know what? I didn't like always playing the B minor in front of people when I'm singing, because there's room, you know, it's a funky chord and I could make a mistake, right? Thank you, Tang Boy. So what I do is I put a capo on 2, and this just seems to better fit voice, right? Now I play the same, so I'm playing a C with a capo on 2. So that's E. Okay, so why don't we, here. Da, 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 da. Now I'm playing the chord in the key of C. Da, 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 da. Much easier when I'm singing, making eye contact with people, working through a room. I don't have to worry about that dreaded B minor, or it could be an F sharp minor, or whatever the bar chord is. I put a capo on. And I happen to like it sounds better. I can't really sing it right now because, again, I don't want to do the copyright thing. But it's the same thing. And to prove that, okay, why don't we do this? Here. Let's record this thing. Okay, so there's that chord progression. Put a capo on 2. Now I'm playing 4 different chords, but it sounds okay. Okay? It sounds okay. It sounds good. So that's when you've probably seen this, because when you're learning to play guitar, you watch bands and you watch guitar players. And how many times have you seen a band with 2 or 3 guitar players at the same time? And all 3 of them are playing something different. Like, what, this guy's playing here, this guy's playing here, this guy's playing bar chords, this guy's playing open chords. Like, what's going on? Exactly what we just did. One guy or girl is playing the open position. The second guitar player might be playing power chords or bar chords, but the same thing. And then the third guitar player might be doing what we just did. Slap a capo on 2 and play the chords that are lower step, so that with a capo they're brought back up. Okay? So in this case, like I just showed you, instead of playing D, A, B minor, G, I'm playing C, G minor, F. Da 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 da. Ba da da ba da da da. Right? That's so. Okay, bye. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your support, Tong Boy. So yeah, but these that will come naturally to you. At the beginning, you're hanging on for dear life. I've been there, done that. You're just worried about, oh my God, I gotta play. Oh, I gotta get my sound and I gotta play. Oh my God, how am I gonna do this? And you're making mistakes. It sounds terrible. Your fingers are sore. You're thinking, what am I getting myself into? But as you go. So don't even think about worrying about capos or, keys and what's the 4 chord in the key of E. Forget it, which would be E, F, G, A. But anyways, you see what I mean? Forget it. You don't need to know that right now. But as you start going, things are going to start, you're going to start figuring it out. Okay? So, I think we're looking pretty good for today. We've been here now for hours, probably too long. And so for those of you just joining or have never seen me here before or whatever, my name is Ray. I have a little channel here, and I'm catering to beginners up to intermediates, and it is not an official conservatory of music or lesson channel. Okay, I am not all about learning every scale, learning every mode of every scale, learning things like intervals and all that. Look, that has, opinion, no place in a beginner's lap. Okay, that's just me, especially if you're starting at an advanced age, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Forget it. Those are for people that want to. Yes, maybe you aspire to be a professional guitarist or a musician, etc. You need to know all this stuff. But for the rest of us that just want to play cool songs that we grew up with, or play at our next campfire or at the cottage or our next Friday night party, we just need to know a few open chords, how to strum, and just starting to think like a musician, think like a guitar player. And you could be the star of the show, the hit of the party, no problem. I had been playing less than 2 years, and I started going out doing gigs in coffee shops. And I'm not talking like open mics. I'm talking about paid gigs in coffee shops and little bars and stuff like that. Just from my repertoire of 40 songs that I learned. And those 40 songs, the majority were in the same key. So I used the same 4 or 5 chords, open chords, over, and made different songs. I used the capo to stretch out that repertoire of chords. So now my A with a capo on 2, now I can play a song in the key of B, because an A, we all know how to chord. With a capo on 2, now I'm in B major. So I could put a song in the key of B major. Right? It's the same 3, 4 open chords that I know. So don't get over intimidated by this whole process. Yes, if you want to learn all the techniques and all the scale, all the modes of the scales and all the positions of the scales, go for it. But as I've proven here today, all you really need to know, a few chords from one key, one scale down the road that you will then use to play solos or licks or play along with another. The minor pentatonic scale. You don't have to know 3 or 4 positions. Know the one position, meaning what we all learn, the A minor pentatonic. That would be one position. All that means is we're starting on the root note. For example, if you're playing the A minor pentatonic position 1, that means you're going to start A note is on that string, the 6th string. There's your first position. You all know this one. That's the 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, which I don't use the numbers, I use the notes so that it helps me learn moving down the road. But anyways, that's what it means by first position. If someone said, oh, Ray, play the 2nd position of the A minor pentatonic, all that means is I start on the 2nd note of the scale. In this case, A, the 2nd note is C. So in the 2nd position, I would start on my C. C, D, E, G. Those are the notes, the four of the 5 notes. So that's all that means is, oh, 2nd position, start on the 2nd note. So A is the 1st in the A minor pentatonic. C is the start on the 2nd. So I go to the C. The 3rd note is the same, it's D. Then it's E, right? So I have to go and play an E. And then it's G, which is right here. So I 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my A, which is here. Right? Same 5 notes as here. A, C, E, G. C, D. I'm just starting in a different spot. C, D, E, G, A. Same notes, just played elsewhere. That's all that means. So if I know 2 positions, wow, I got more than enough tools in my bag to play solo to anything. Okay? Here, key of C. That's it. Simple, right? So don't think you got to know all this stuff. You use one scale. If you happen to know a 2nd position of that scale, fantastic. Okay? I kind of know the pentatonic in the open position. Comes in handy. Didn't know it for the longest time, figured it out down the road. Okay? So keep it simple. Keep it simple. Learn a few open chords in the same key. Learn how to strum those chords. Get confident, because the soon as you can start playing music, that's when you need to pull out your favorite song that you've always wanted to play. In this case, one of the fellows, or I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, had said about Coldplay, Yellow. They want to know how to play it, whatever. Find the chords, learn those 3 chords that are in the song. Away you go. Use that song because that's a motivation. So instead of just going G, and there's nothing wrong with this at first. Look, I'm smooth, I'm transitioning well between G, I'm going in any way, right? Going in any order. I can, okay? You got to do that at some point. But as soon as you possibly can, this way. Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do. It's yellow, right? It wasn't the greatest because it's not the right key. But I think my point is that if you learn to play your chords and your progressions to a song that you know, it makes it easier. It makes it more fun to learn. And it makes it easier to know when you're not on the right track or when you made a mistake, because you've heard that certain song thousands of times. If you play it wrong, you're going to go, oh no, that's the wrong chord. If you're playing chord progressions, you really don't have that, should I have gone to C? should I gone to the G or the D or the, you know, you don't have anything. But when you're playing a song that you know and you go to the wrong chord, then you know, hey, well, it's the wrong chord. Okay? So that's why it's advantageous. You don't have to play songs, but it's advantageous to start as soon as you can playing your favorite songs because, well, again, for those reasons mentioned, right? Okay. So again, that's for today, and I thank everybody for joining. I hope you learned a little bit of something, and if you don't know who I am, you think I can help you, by all means hit subscribe. I come on live quite often. Starting in the fall, there'll be structured days for beginners and intermediates. We'll have this type of a show twice a week. Plus, I jump on sometimes just to play songs. I'm not doing them today because I want to keep this video up for others to see. And if I play songs, I get copyrighted and I got to take it down or I got to edit things out and I just end up deleting it. So, but sometimes I just come on and play songs, and sometimes I talk about music in general. Sometimes we have a structured guitar lesson. It's always something different. But check out my channel. I got over 300 videos there. If you think I can help, please hit subscribe. And that's the best way to support. And hey, you have any questions? Let me know. And we'll see you again soon, okay? Have a good one. And remember, just play your guitar. That is the only way you're going to get better. Guitar. All right, let's see.
If you have an hour this week, you can learn 100 songs on the piano by learning just 4 chords. These.
4 chords, 100 songs. I mean, even though it's piano. See?